Hey, it's Sarah from Made on the Common, and this is one of the final videos in the series. So we're on the home straight. We're just going to look at the reports and kind of wrap everything up on your template. So there are three kind of standard report sheets that you'll get on whichever version of the template you're using. So you'll get your 12-month report, your annual summary, and your charts. And then the ones after that will vary depending on which one you're looking at. So the 12-month report, we've touched on this a few times as we've kind of gone through the file. So this is the main sheet really that you'll use for your bookkeeping. This is where you see a nice summary of each month's figures. You have your Etsy ones at the top, so your income, and then any other income that you've added. So you've got 3 lines for Etsy, sorry, and then your other income. Again, all of these numbers are net, so any sales tax that was included in your numbers has been stripped out. Any sales tax or VAT that you've charged to customers has been stripped out. This is purely your income, so your net income. And that will add up to give you a total for the 12 months. You vary the months that you see on here from the Start Here page, so that's kind of whatever first month you put in is what you'll see on here. You can have multiple years worth of data in the file and then just update this. So when we get to 2023, you would just go to the Start Here page and change this to 2023, and you would see, so the data's still in the file, it's just the reporting period that's differed. So if you do look at this sheet and it's completely blank and you're wondering where your numbers are, it's always just worth checking that you've got the right year kind of showing at the top. That I've had that a few times where suddenly everything's disappeared. So put that back to 2022. So like I say, you get your income at the top, you get your expenses listed underneath to give you a total expenses, and the net of those two numbers, so your income less your expenses, will come to your profit. You get your profit going along by month, and then you also see your percentage profit. So this is just this number divided by your total income to give you a percentage, and that shows you kind of what percentage. So for every £100 income you make, how much profit do you keep? So if that was 40%, you'd keep £40. If that was 80, you keep £80. So that's kind of how that number works. The very bottom line is just your year-to-date income. So this will always stay the same until you add new numbers in here, and then it will change. And that number, this kind of number always matches that one because that's just the total of your months, and that's effectively the total just as at the end of each month. So hopefully that will go up throughout the year if you're making profit. If you're looking to generate more profit, obviously you can look at where you've kind of spent quite a lot of money down here. If it's costing you too much, I don't know, you're spending too much on advertising and you're not getting the return in your income. But that's a whole other series of videos that we could probably do on improving profit and setting goals and targets and things like that. Your annual summary sheet gives you exactly the same rows as are on your 12-month report. Go back. But for a 12-month period, and this is the one that will go down to a daily level. So I get sometimes a lot of people ask me why they can only see 12 months in here. If you're running the UK tax year, which starts on the 6th of April, you would normally run this April to March. Obviously, you're then missing just a few days of April at the end of the year. You can see that on this one. So this is the one I would use for UK tax year figures. And this goes down to a daily level. Your 12-month report is only full months. So you can't run this from the 23rd of January and then kind of see months. This always has to start on the 1st of the month. But other than that, it's in exactly the same format. So you would see, and hopefully if you put the same years in, you will get the same numbers at the bottom, in theory. The other one that's standard in all of the templates is the charts sheet. This uses the numbers that are on this 12-month report to give you a total income, total expenses, which just come from these two summary lines, and your profit number, and then shows you kind of your monthly figures in a more graphical. So it's sometimes a bit easier to see where your peaks and troughs are versus looking at a whole list of numbers. And this just shows you where you've spent the bulk of your income. So in this case, it was selling fees from Etsy, obviously, and office supplies, depending on what your business is. You might have very high material costs or very high advertising spend, I don't know. And this also gives you a breakdown of where your sales have come from. If you're using the Etsy bookkeeping templates, probably Etsy. If you're using one of the multi-platform templates where you can drop in multiple platforms worth of data, so Etsy and eBay or Etsy and Shopify, it's sometimes good to kind of see the comparison between the two. And that just shows you your profit by month and then your year-to-date profit, like I say, hopefully climbing through the year. And then after that, the charts that you see at the end or the reports that you see at the end will then vary by template. So I'll just take you through these kind of individually depending on which template you have. So this is the non-VAT registered version. And this one has a simple sales location by country. So using your Etsy data that you've dropped in, it will look at the country that you've sold to and just shows where you've made the most sales. So in this case, it was kind of fairly evenly split between the US, Canada, Australia, the US and the UK, Canada and Australia, kind of the top four, and by far that's kind of the bulk of the sales. So you can see where to focus your efforts really. And then this just summarises it more by region, which might be useful or might not. If you're using the US or the Canadian version of the file, the next thing you'll see is a tax summary or sales tax summary. And this is where you can see the sales tax that's been collected both by Etsy and also any tax that's been paid to you for you to settle to the tax authorities yourself. And the way that these sheets work is, so again, it's all automated. You don't need to input anything onto this sheet. The top is your total figures. So from all of the sales that you've made, regardless of where to, you've got your total sales, the total tax collected both by Etsy and to be paid to you. You then get that broken down between the tax retained by Etsy, any sales tax that's been paid by the customer and paid to you for you to settle, and then anything you've added to the other income sheet, and again any tax that you've kind of set aside that you need to settle yourself will show up in here as well. You then get, if you can choose your country, the US one it is just the United States. If you're on the Canadian one, some of the templates let you choose, you can choose Canada, and you can then see it by states. You can either see your total sales. This is quite useful. I know in Canada, I think you now have to declare your total Canadian sales, so that's quite useful for that. And then wherever you're based, if you need to see the figures for your state in the US or your province in Canada, you can choose to just see a specific state or province, and it will kind of bring you the numbers up there in more detail. Again, if you've got any on the other income sheet where you've identified that you've got tax kind of to be settled, it will show it up there. The only area where there is some manual work to be done in this is to do with Etsy refunds. I cover this in quite a lot of detail in the instructions, but basically it is very difficult to see the tax that's been collected and paid to you for a refund, because it doesn't give that information in the order file. It only gives you the tax that was initially collected on the order, not how much has then been paid back to the customer. So what this will do though is it will show you kind of for the whatever selection you've put up here if you have any refunds, and I would suggest you then literally kind of need to go through them and just kind of add up any tax that's been collected on those orders and then refunded. So that's the only manual thing that you need to look at. Everything else will kind of, these numbers should be good numbers that you can use. That's just one, again, a little quirk of Etsy, that it's just impossible to get to those numbers automatically. So you just need to look at that. Then in the US and the Canada ones, this is the US one, you get a map showing where your sales have been made. If you're in Canada, you also get a Canadian map, although unfortunately not in Google Sheets because that's not possible. But that's just quite a nice addition that you can see where your sales have been made. So the final one is just to look at the VAT registered template, and this, you'll see that after the charts you get a VAT summary sheet, and this should give you the numbers that you need for your VAT reporting. Obviously with month-to-date tax reporting now, you will need to kind of get this into your accounting software or budgeting software, however you're submitting your VAT numbers. But this should at least give you some of the numbers you need. So you've got your net income, so this is with the VAT stripped out. You've got the VAT charged on your income, split between sales, refunds, and then your other income, which is off your other income sheet. And then again, a breakdown of expenses and any VAT paid on expenses that you can recover. And then it also just gives you at the bottom a gross sales split between 20% and 0 rated sales, so that just in case you need this for loading into your accounting software. And then after that you get the same sales location sheet as you got on the non-VAT registered sheet. And that's it. So those are the reports that you get in. Like I say, all of the reports update automatically, so you don't need to do anything. The only funny one was the refunds on the US and Canadian tax summary sheet, which are a little bit tricky to kind of work through. That's it. Hopefully you've now got to grips with your Etsy bookkeeping template. I'm always at the end of the email. If you get stuck and need to ask any questions, or if anything's not working properly, please just let me know. Always happy to help and to get you sorted.